first, I think it's truly important to be able to, these are things that you can find if you don't know them yet. One, I think you really need to know all your notes on the E string, which is this top thick string here, and the A string to start with. I think if you just know all your roots on these first two strings to begin with, it's going to be crucial because not only does it relate to where my chord shape is, it also relates to where you're plugging in your scale or your pool of notes to improvise a solo. The second thing I think you should be able to play based off of those roots. See, it's kind of, it all, it's like you take one step and then you expand on that and then you expand on that and then so forth, so on, and they tell two friends and they tell two friends. You get what I'm saying. Okay, so first, knowing those roots. Second, being able to play any major chord, any minor chord based off of these two roots. So then, the next thing is your, what's called, you've heard me say it a million times, you're probably sick of it, I'm going to say it again, the minor pentatonic scale, which is a pool of notes. The first one we learn is based off that E string root, and we want to just practice that scale. It's great to practice when you're doing something else, like watching TV, or waiting for your Pop-Tart. So let's pick the A minor pentatonic to start with, and I'm going to just give you, I think, the beginning things of, what you should do with it. And it's a great starting point. So if I said the A minor pentatonic, that means that it's going to be based off of an A chord progression. So that's why I say you want to know your chords and roots, on the strings, because if someone's playing a progression, typically the first chord of the progression, you're going to plug in, that same root as the first chord. So if I have an A, chord, let's say A minor. You have other chords in it. If that feels like home base, that's the scale you're going to plug in. All right? There's obviously a lot of theory involved, but let's not worry about that. So A minor pentatonic, my first finger right on the 5th fret. I'm going to put my first finger right there, 5th fret, and play that note. Then I'm going to put my pinky, and I really recommend you use your pinky. Just be patient with it. Maybe it has a mind of its own. You're going to go up to the 8th fret with it, so it looks like this. So it kind of sounds like Iron Man. Well, Iron Man is a riff taken from that scale. See what I mean? So we got first finger on the 5th, pinky on the 8th. So just mind you, this is the A minor pentatonic scale. If I wanted to play the G minor pentatonic scale, G's right there, I'm going to go, see, all the same thing, so you got to plug it in, and then you play through it. There's first finger, 5th fret again, and by the way, first finger's on the 5th fret across the whole guitar for this particular A minor pentatonic scale. A as in the root A. So look at that. First finger, 5 to 8. First finger, 5 to 7 on that next string. First finger, 5 to 7 on that string. 5 to 7 on the next string. So you have 3 strings here that are the same thing. And it's a nice little, kind of looks like a box. And that's where a lot of the juicy stuff comes from in the beginning. Then the last 2 strings, the B string here and the high E, are 5, 8, 5, 8. So this is called ascending the scale. It's when I start from the lowest sounding note of the scale all the way up to the highest. going up the ladder of notes. Now, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start with the highest note and descend the scale. Then I'll do ascending, descending without stopping. So, sometimes it's going to feel weird at first, but this is, like I said, a really good thing to practice when you're like watching TV, because we just want to build up a little muscle memory, because then what we're going to do is we're going to use this pool of notes to learn little phrases. So we're building a vocabulary up. And when you learn these phrases, the better you get at them, the more you can switch them around, put different phrases together, and that's how you start to build your improvising. But for now, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to just show you the scale and what to do with it right off the bat. Okay? So one thing is it might feel really awkward at first. So sometimes look at your pick. Look down at your right hand. Make sure you're eventually, we'll just start with down strums, but eventually you want to alternate your picking. Not yet. So you look at your right hand, you get that going. Then sometimes look at your left hand. Go super, super slow with it. There's one thing that's really famous in this shape of it. If you go to the 1, 2, 3, 4th string down the G string, put your ring finger on that 7th fret, the very tip of it, and then the middle finger behind it, and that's just for strength. We're not going to hear that note. And then first finger behind that. So we're going to bend with all the power of all 3 fingers, the very tips of my fingers on the string, and bend it up. Just like that. And so here's a couple of things you can try. Bend up, and then release to that note. So don't hear it bend back down and just go right to the 5th fret. It's a nice kind of Hendrix. Okay, the other one is hear it go back down. And then that release. Right, just a little, and then use the scale to climb into that. See, and then you're starting to build up a little vocabulary. So that's one thing. Here's another thing. My first finger on the 5th fret, and then my pinky's going to work off and on that 8th fret, and I'm just going to pick down on that high string right there. And I'll do it on the B string too. If you get good with that, then you can combine them back and forth. And then you use the scale to go into it. And then go back down the scale. And then when we get to that G string, do that little bend thing I just taught you. Just like that. See, so you just slowly build up your ideas. One last thing, kind of a Chuck Berry kind of thing. Cover our first finger over both strings. And could add my pinky there. See that? So you got to just start real basic, real slow. And if some of that was too hard, just go through that when you're watching TV. I'm telling you, or you're watching, YouTube surfing now.